Our first question comes from PJTV member Bill T, who asks, how do we win the culture? Bill T, that is the $64,000 question. That's the whole question. That's all of it right there. When we talk about winning politics, whenever we talk about politics, whenever we talk politics, we lose. Every time we talk about morality and principles, we win. Every time you go to a movie, every time you go to watch a TV show, we're the bad guys. You can't win against your own mythology. You can't defeat your own culture. You can't run against your own culture. And because the left owns the culture in this town, Hollywood, where I work, that means that cool is defined as what they are, and what we are is automatically the antithesis of cool. How do you float against, how do you sail against that kind of headwind? I don't know. I do know this. There's one encouraging sign before I kind of get to answering your question, and that is that without question, the left and the Democrats and the liberals own the culture. They own all the culture. They own all of late night comedy. They own music. They own television. They own movies. They own everything. It's all theirs. And coupled with a news media that throws a 30-point cloak of invisibility over stories that they find embarrassing to the president, and when you throw in all of the other social pressures and so on and so on and so on, with the left doing everything at 100% peak efficiency and with us doing nothing right, it's still a 50-50 election, which is why this question is so important. Because if we win in the culture, we won't ever have to worry about another election again. We'll be able to take the whole year off, just have margaritas, and of course we're going to win. The question's going to be, are we going to win 49 states or 50? Is the guy going to carry his own state? Maybe we'll let him carry his own state like Mondale did in '84. But the question is, how do you retake the culture? Well, first of all, you have to do it slowly. I mean, you have to understand that the left understood this was the pathway into the heart of America, was to come in through the culture, and they did it over the course of 40 years. It's not going to happen overnight. But ultimately, there are groups of conservatives here in Hollywood who make conservative movies. And you can't make conservative movies, by the way. You have to make movies and TV shows that people find interesting, that have conservative values, that have people that look like us and act like us and do the things that we do. If it weren't for the internet, we'd be just totally doomed. But it is possible to retake the culture. And one of the main things about it is, just to close, is simply this. You have to ask yourself what the two messages are, right? If we're actually in a situation where we're trying to sell a message to the American people, versus the liberals who are trying to sell a message to the American people. If we do this through the pop culture as a subject of movies and TV shows and so on, what are these two messages? Well, our message as conservatives is that we're steely-eyed missilemen with our eyes on a far horizon. We have nuclear-powered cars that do 400 miles an hour. We believe in hot women and guns and things that go boom. We have a military that can vaporize any place on the earth in 20 minutes, not cost us anything but money. We're the proud inheritors of a brilliant future, and everything we do and say reeks of money, success, and competence. That's our message. Their message is that humanity is just a bunch of humans sitting around a thatched hut, burning a cow patty, pulling fleas off of each other, eating their sustainable algae cakes while they have an organic bake sale to raise money for the Guatemalan water snake. And if you're actually telling me that these two things are equally easy to sell, you're out of your mind. Of course we can win the culture. We just have to understand that everything is the culture. And when you have a president who finally is able to say, answer a question in a pop culture way, Mr. President, what do you think of the Second Amendment? I think the Second Amendment is the legal document that allows me to carry this here handgun, which I use to kill bad guys with. And if you want to know what I think about gun rights, you might want to ask yourself, next time you go to a James Bond movie, how would you feel if James Bond went out on his mission armed with only with a sternly worded letter from the United Nations, which he read repeatedly as people were shooting at him? It doesn't make any sense, does it? That's a pop culture answer. That's the kind of thing we have to do. Big question, shortish answer.